You guys, MLB The Show 22 is finally here, so we need to make a revamped pitching tutorial video for you guys. Now, in this video, I'm going to focus on pinpoint again like I did last year. You know, meter and analog have been in the game for quite a while, so I don't really want to spend too much time on those. I'll talk about it a little bit, but this will mostly be for pinpoint. Pinpoint pitching was added last year, and I really think it made your input matter the most. As long as you guys did it within, you know, a 90%, 95%, your pitch ended up going where you wanted it to go. So it's a major W. I highly recommend giving it a shot. I know it's tough in the beginning, but I promise you guys, it will help out in the long run. We're also going to dive into some of my settings. There aren't a ton of settings in pitching, but again, it's just something we're going to go over as well. I do also want to mention the controllers in the video too. We talked about it in our hitting tips video, so if you guys missed that, I have it linked up here for you guys. So we will talk about the controllers and which ones you guys should be using for each of your pitching inputs. If you guys are enjoying the video, hit that like button for me. I'm putting some good effort for you guys, and I'm hoping this pitching tips video will take you to the next level. Make sure you guys are commenting down below as well. What do you guys think about those pitching tips? What interface you guys like to use? Let me know down below, please, and make sure you guys are subscribing. We're going to try to have 6 videos out in the first 24-hour span for you guys, so it'll be a ton of content. You guys do not want to miss any of it. But let's go ahead and get into our pitching tips video. Okay, so just like in our hitting tips video, let's go over the controllers really quick. We don't need to spend too much time on it. PS5 controller, obviously it's the best when you guys can use the PS5. There's no aftermarket controllers for that, so if you're using a PS5, use the PS5 controller right now. Again, there's supposed to be an update coming out to help out with the input of it, so hopefully that does help out. Now, new this year is our Nintendo Switch users. We're going to be using a Power A controller. I don't know if you guys can really do much with the Joy-Con sticks. You can try it if you want to. This controller is literally like 20 bucks at Best Buy. We'll give you really good input. It is pretty cheaply made, I will agree with that, but again, it'll give you great input. I promise you guys want to use a controller like this. And then lastly, for Xbox, let's talk about 2 controllers here. So we have the Power A controller. This again is another cheaply made controller, but it gives you the best input. I promise you guys, I used one for MLB The Show 21 and it was amazing. Now, this one was $30 at Best Buy, so really not that expensive either. It is a wire controller. Again, you can't really see. There you go. You got to plug in the wire right there. So if you guys don't like wire controllers, I mean, that's just up to you guys again. But again, the Power A controller was the best, at least on MLB The Show 21. Now, for MLB The Show 22, I'm really hoping that the Xbox Series Elite 2 controller will be really good. Unfortunately, for some reason, pinpoint did not work. If you guys used it, if any of you guys had a chance to use a, you know, the Elite 2 series controller, there is a Wolverine, I think, out there, in a Thrustmaster. I've never used those two, so I can't really speak to them. But the Series Elite controller, again, scribbled when you did pinpoint, so it was really hard to actually get perfect input. Now, this year, I'm hoping that with the new game, they optimize it a little bit better, because I think if you guys can use this controller over anything with an Xbox Series X, is the best competitive advantage in MLB The Show right now. I should mention as well, as you guys obviously see in the title, we're going to have a hand cam, so that way you can actually see how I place my fingers on the controller. So that will be there for you guys once we actually get to the gameplay. So here we are at the main menu. We're actually going to go to our settings, go over to here. We're going to go to gameplay, and we're going to scroll over to pitching. Again, if you guys missed our hitting tips video, I'll have it linked up again for you guys. Make sure you guys watch that. You guys will want to do it because it'll make you guys a better player. But we're going to be talking about pitching. So for the pitching difficulty, I don't think it really matters when you're in offline doing this. Again, we can do it on All-Star if we want to. It probably makes it a little bit easier for those, but we can do it on Legend. It won't be hard right there. So the pitching interface is going to be the biggest thing within the pitching menu here. So we have 5 different interfaces we can use. We have pinpoint, meter, classic, pure analog, and pulse. Now, like I said, this video is going to be about pinpoints. You also have meter, which I think last year said was the second most accurate interface, which is kind of weird to me because there's no really timing mechanism with it. You have classic, which literally is just you placing the ball. Never want to use that online play because there's way too much RNG. Random numbers generated, which pretty much means luck within each different game. Don't want classic. You have pure analog, which is the one I used up until last year. You actually use your analog, try to put it like in a little hoop. It's pretty easy to do. And then you have pulse pitching, which again is another one where if you place the ball, it just like pulses, and you want it when it gets really small. Again, I probably would not use that. We're going to talk about pinpoint because I think it's the best one for you guys. So I'll make sure the pitch feedback is on. I don't know if you'd ever want to turn it off. I'm not sure why that's an option, but there it is for you guys. Now, probably the second biggest thing, at least for me, is the pitching view. Pitching views can be anything. You really can do whatever you want to. I personally like strike zone. So strike zone for me is the same hitting view that I do. But what I really like about strike zone is you get to see the ball coming in twice. So when you're hitting, you get to see it, but also when you're pitching. So it kind of gets your eyes down a little bit more and get used to actually hitting and pitching in MLB The Show. So I love using Strike Zone. And the other thing about Strike Zone as well is in the background, you can see if somebody takes a lead off a second. So a lot of people like to get greedy, take the extra lead. You can go ahead and backpick them and get them out. Now, there are other options you guys can use. I think a lot of people like to use, let me go back, I think it's like broadcast or pitcher offset, which actually you're behind the mound the camera is. So you're actually looking at the catcher. You can use that one if you want to. I think some people use broadcast, but again, for the sake of this video, I really like to use Strike Zone. I think it will be the best one for you guys. Now, the pitching ball marker, again, this is kind of a personal preference. I like to use pitch trail on because it actually shows when the pitch is coming in or right before you throw it. It'll show actually how your pitch will be mapped out on the screen. So if you throw a slider, it'll show it, you know, hooking. If you throw a cutter, again, it'll show a cutting, sinker, going down, changeup, going down again. So I like to have the pitch trail on. I think some people do classic. Classic's another thing too you guys can do. I would leave it on. Don't do the fade because that way it just goes away. No reason to have that. Just leave the pitch trail on. We're going to have the pitch confidence on. I don't know why you would turn that off either. Pitch confidence is actually a major thing in MLB The Show. The more confident your pitcher is, the harder it is for your opponent to hit. So we want to make sure that we're throwing good pitches. That way your pitcher confidence is up. Throw a lot of strikes. If it keeps going up, it makes it very hard to hit. So pitch delay, I think, is mostly for offline. I'm not sure really. I don't ever use it. So I guess there's a time between each pitch taken, I should say. So you can put on fast if you want to. If you're doing batting practice, that can help out too. And then the API is the adaptive pitching intelligence. I just leave this off. You can't use it online anyways, but it pretty much tells you where to throw the ball with the computer, and they pretty much tell you how they want you to throw each pitch. I don't use it. You don't use it online, so don't worry about it. Okay, so we are going to scroll down to custom practice. Again, just for the sake of this video, let's actually use some new guys in the game. So again, we'll get the long ball guys here because we want to use somebody like Randy Johnson. He's a new guy in the game. You want to be able to use him off the rip here. So let's go ahead and start with Randy Johnson. Let's learn some pinpoint here. Okay, so we are going to turn on the hand cam here. So the biggest thing with pitching is tempo. So you guys see right here, do you see the little tempo that it had for us right there? You see it again. We'll do it one more time. We want to follow that tempo while we're trying to pitch here. So you see right here, we got Randy Johnson throwing. So we're going to go down and up, 97, and then bring it back down to right there. And look, we get a perfect pitch. Now, a couple of things within this pitch. Do you guys see the outer circle around the ball? That's called your par. So if you guys see that little circle around the ball, that's actually your perfect accuracy region. So what it means is if I get a perfect pitch, now obviously this is not a perfect pitch right here. This is my first time using Randy Johnson here, to just, you know, bear with me here. So if we get a perfect pitch here with Randy, it should go where he throws. Now right there, that was not very good. We just got to get used to Randy Johnson's pitching motion. Look at that, 100. And then boom, see? You see that? That was 100% accuracy. Perfect right there. Maybe a little bit late. But that shows that it's going to go within that par. So if you're not perfect, it can go anywhere without that par. So like you saw right there, if I just do it like really quick. So 52. Even if you get it pretty perfect right there, it usually will go a little bit more outside the range on that one. So just keep that in mind too as you guys are moving around. It actually is interactive this year. So what that means is if I go up, it should change. But on fastballs, it doesn't. Like, so if we throw a slider, see the slider? And then if you go way up, look how big that gets. So they wanted to nerf having off-speed pitches, you know, go way up in the zone. So this is kind of their counteract to it, is making the par bigger. So we actually try to throw this really quick. Do that. It can go anywhere within that zone. So just keep that in mind as you're pitching again with the splitter. Another thing too that you kind of do that and then kind of go from there. Just another thing you guys just when you're pitching. But first off, we want to try to master the fastball. The fastball is the pitch you're going to use the most. So if we do that 100 and then boom, a little bit to the right on that one. See how far outside that one goes? That's one thing we got to be careful with too as you're doing this pitching with all of pinpoint. It can get a little bit wild. Now the biggest thing, you could still get perfects with fastballs, I think above 90%. So that's what we're trying to aim for. Try to get at least above 90%. With the actual, when you bring down the little ball right here, it has to go where that is right there. You see that? So make sure we're trying to get within that. that actually leads me to this ball moves to wherever you're throwing the pitch, and we're trying to get it back into that little ball. If you guys see that little loop on the screen up there, that's where we're ultimately trying to get that white ball into. So it'll go up and down, and we're trying to hit that right as it goes down like that. Like that is perfect right there. We're trying to hit that every single time. So again, let's try to do it. Boom, up, down, and then boom. A little bit on the outside of that one, so not perfect. But again, we're trying to hit that ball to make sure that we actually get it where we want the ball to go here. Boom, just like that. So that is our fastball. Again, we want to make sure that we're following that motion within each pitch because it's going to be a little bit different just because it could be longer. Like on the slider, it could be a little bit longer. The splitter, it goes 2 different ways. So just keep that in mind as well. Another thing too, you know, we want to make sure we're moving the ball around. I've shown all these ones, you know, just right down the middle. But if we actually move it up here, let's make it a little bit tougher for us and then bring it down right there. Look at that. Not a great input right there. So let's see if we can work on that again. Let's try to see if we can hit this corner up here. Again, not the greatest, but it is going where you want it to go. And let's see if we can go on the outside corner right here. Boom, right there too. So again, Randy Johnson's a new guy that we're using. You know, it gets a little bit tougher with him, but that's okay. So now that we got some tempo down with Randy, let's try to throw some off-speed pitches. Now, I'm going to leave the splitter for a little bit later because it is a tougher pitch to do, but we have the slider right here. Now, we're going to try to follow that same tempo right there. And then boom, throw it down there, and look at that. Not too shabby. Now, we want to try to make sure it's going to be different for every single pitch type. Just keep that in mind as well. 100, boom, look at that. That goes almost exactly where I want that pitch to go. Now, again, like we talked about earlier, look at how big it gets up here. So let's see if we can try to circle this perfect. Boom, look at that. Not really near anywhere where we put that pitch. So keep that in mind, again, as you guys are throwing these pitches because it's going to be not the easiest thing to do. Again, look at that. That's a perfect pitch. Went nowhere near where I put it. Again, I don't want to throw the splitter. I'm going to show you guys every pitch and how I do them. If you are using a slider, I think it's 90% we have to get to for it to actually be a perfect still. All right, look at that. I think every single time you at least get above a 90% to still be able to get a perfect release within MLB The Show. So we know that we have Randy Johnson right here. Okay, so I wanted to go ahead and use the best pitcher in baseball right now. So we have Jacob deGrom here. Let's just do a couple with him on the fastball just to show, you know, some different, you know, different pitch releases that we have, some different tempos. This one is pretty similar to Randy Johnson. Not horrible, but this is definitely something I've used a ton, so we should get some really good perfects on this one. So we have the slider here, too, with Jacob deGrom. Again, just tracing it as easy as we can and kind of go from there. Not the best release right there. But again, just take note, too, of how much bigger it gets when you try to go up here. 100, and then that, and then boom, look how far outside this. That's a perfect release right there, so just keep that in mind. Now, let's go over the circle change. The circle change will be a pitch that's going to be used a ton this year too. Now, do you see it? This one's a little bit more inclusive, but nonetheless, if you get it down, it shouldn't be too hard. So what we're going to do is just follow tempo again. We're going to go up and then all the way around. A little bit slow on that one, and then release, and then boom. Do that right there. So we'll go through the circle change again right here. All the way around, and then release. Boom. Look at that. You know, Jacob deGrom is very good, so you know he's gonna be very easy to use. Now the two-seamer, let's go over that one as well. The two-seamer is kind of like the fastball. Fastball is what, up and down just like that. You know, nothing too crazy. The two-seamer is gonna be more at an angle and all the way around. So right there, boom, and then boom. Look at that, perfect release right there. Awesome. And I think so all fastballs, their par does not move at all. You guys see that? It still stays the same. So if I want to dot a down low pitch with Jacob deGrom, you know, we'll dot a down low pitch with Jacob deGrom right there. That's just how it is with fastballs. So now curveballs, again, kind of at an angle, but a longer loop around. So if we go down and around, boom, look at that. That was nowhere near where we put that one. But again, if you guys are looking at my thumb, I kind of do it like right on the top right there and kind of work my way around. Another curveball. Again, not the perfect pitch right there, but again, a pitch that's curveballs are not the best in Diamond Dynasty. And look at that. It's not even a perfect par right there either. And it still kind of goes where I want it. But curveball's not the best pitch to throw in Diamond Dynasty. They usually hit for nuke shots. So So we're going to go ahead and use Corbin Burns here. Now, again, like I said, cutters and sinkers are the meta in MLB The Show. So if we use a cutter, we go up and around and then boom, down like that. Corbin Burns will dot these pitches like crazy. He is just unreal. I don't know. He's a pitcher that you guys want to use definitely off the rip here because he can dot like I'm showing right here with any pitch, and usually you can make some good perfect perks with him. And you guys can tell again, this is the cutter, right? You guys see? It does not move at all with its par. So we want to go outside the cutter. Boom. And go outside the cutter. Now, the other pitch we're going to be using a ton in Diamond Dynasty is the sinker. Sinkers, last year you could put wherever you wanted to. Now, you see this. This is the only fastball pitch that the par will move because sinkers were such a problem last year with up and in or, you know, up and away, whatever. They were just very hard to hit. So we go down low. We'll do a sinker. Just easy fall right there. What you do is you just go down and then loop around. Boom, just like that. Now, if we go up a little bit higher with the sinker, we're going to go up here. See how much bigger it gets? But, you know, relatively kind of goes where you want it to go. Again, it's going to be a lot better once we have those guys with legend per nines and whatnot and walk rates and all this stuff. But, you know, to a degree, you can probably still use sinkers if you want to. But just be, you know, weary of how much bigger the par gets when you're actually throwing them up high like that. Another pitch, or probably the hardest pitch in Diamond Dynasty, is the splitter. You guys see, you actually have to go over, around, back, and back up here. Now, let me do that a little bit quick. I haven't used Kevin Gausman before, so let's do this a little bit slower here. So, boom, 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 boom. Look at that. Nice little splitter right there. Now, with the splitter, what I found out, let's see if it still works. So you guys see, you don't necessarily have to go all the way down the splitter, and that's with almost every single pitch. So you don't have to necessarily follow it all the way to be 100%. You just have to have it pretty close to it. So we go up and down. Look at that. That's perfect right there. You guys see that? I didn't even go all the way down the splitter. Again, it's just, you got to at least just get pretty close to it, and it will at least make sure you guys get it pretty close to the 100% right there. Okay, just for the sake of the video, I don't know if you could do this last year. We're going to actually bring somebody in. So we have Marcus Semien right here. So when I'm pitching, it kind of depends on your opponent, but I like to start off with some hard stuff inside. So let's go with the fastball in here. Boom, blow them away right there. Now, if we know that they're late on the pitch, maybe let's work a little two-seamer inside right here. Get it down and in. You know, a little bit off on that one, that's okay. So we're sitting at a 1-1. It's not counting the counter here, but we're sitting at a 1-1 count. I'm 1-1. Let's go away with the circle change. They might be thinking there's another fastball coming. Try to hit the outside corner. Look at pulling the string on that one. Now we're at 1-2. I love to go outside with the slider. A lot of people chase these, especially in online play. Again, perfect release. Peter's not swinging at it, but, you know, that's a tough pitch right there. Now it's 2-2. Let's go up and in with the fastball here. Try to blow him away with this 100-mile-an-hour fastball. Okay, didn't swing at it either. Now we're at 3-2. Let's go with the slider inside. Boom. Hey, it's a perfect pitch. Unfortunately, walk him right there. But that's a good little pitch sequence. Another thing that we want to talk about is our pitch sequence and tunneling. You guys see this right here, okay? I'm going to throw a fastball up and in right here. Throw it up, in, boom. Okay, he fouled it off right there, right? Now, if we're going to try to tunnel a pitch, we want to make the pitch look like another fastball. So if you guys see this, let's go ahead and go with the slider right here. Now, off the hand, it should look like another fastball. Kind of go from there, and then boom, it's kind of on the inside right there. So we really want to make sure we are tunneling pitches because that's a good way to make sure your opponent is kind of off-centered here. It's something the best players in the world can do at a very, very high level. It's something that I'm still working on. You know, I get really caught in different pitch sequences. So say we know that Marcus Semien, you know, struggles against the slider, right? So I'll end up throwing the slider maybe the first pitch. You know, look at, he's way early on that. Now that I know he's early, you know, why not throw the circle change inside? Again, a little early on that. But the problem with what I run into is I know that every single time, maybe if Marcus Semien comes up, I'm going to throw that slider first pitch. So that's something you got to keep in the back of your head, that we don't want to keep doing that every single time. Make sure you switch it up. So maybe the next time I see Marcus Semien, let's go down low with an inside two-seamer. Right on the hands here. You know, it's a ball right there, but if you get that first pitch strike, that is a huge bonus. We want to make sure we get that first pitch strike. That makes it so that your opponent knows, hey, he's throwing strikes. We got to be ready to go. Because if you're throwing balls every first pitch or every second pitch, your opponent's not going to swing. They're going to make sure that they get a little smaller of a zone they're looking into. And if you're not throwing anywhere near that, they're not going to swing at it. So we're going to make sure that we are pounding the zone as much as we can. Get your opponent in those 0-2, 1-2, those 2-2 counts. That way they're feeling off balance, and you can almost throw any pitch you want to get out of it. Now, again, you need to pick up on your opponent's tendencies. So if I know that my opponent cannot hit the high fastball, we're going to go in here and we're going to spam inside high fastballs. I know it might be lame or whatever, but if we know that our opponent can't hit it, you got to make sure they can show they can hit off the rip. Again, let's go with the high fastball right here. 100%. Boom, bring it down. Again, the opponent's not swinging at it, but we're going to be spamming that until we can show actually that they can hit that pitch. Now say they're starting to hit that high fastball. Okay, well, if they're starting to hit the high fastball, let's break down this slider down and in right here. And they're going to swing over that thing 9 times out of 10. Again, it depends what difficulty you're on. It depends who your opponent is. But the majority of people, if you tunnel a pitch and you make sure you're throwing it different ways and you're using different pitch types, you're going to have great success in online play. I, thankfully been pretty good at online. I do pretty well for myself. So, this is just trying to encapsulate everything that we're learning today and just trying to put it all into online play, actually. So kind of the main points of the video are we got to make sure we get our tracking down with each pitch. We want to make sure we start with our easiest pitches and work our way down. So start tracking with that fastball, and if you can get that down, start working with the slider, the cutter, the sinker. Get the circle change and the splitter. Those last two are going to be the toughest pitches to throw. So if you guys can master those, you guys will be perfect. Another thing too is we got to make sure we're looking at that par. So we know with the fastball, the par is going to stay the same no matter where you throw it. But if you throw an Aussie pitch up high, the par is going to get bigger. Again, this is newly implemented in this year's game, but it's something you got to be aware of, because if you're going to try to throw an up high slider, it probably won't go where you want it to go, unfortunately. You can still try to get that perfect input, and hopefully it goes where you want it to go, but it will be a lot tougher this year. And lastly, just try to pick up on your tendencies of your opponent. Now, again, like I said, if they're struggling the high fastball, keep spinning high fastballs. I know it might be lame, again, like I said, but you have to make sure they show they can hit it, because if you can keep getting them out, just keep getting them out. Now, if they start adjusting to that, start throwing the slider, start throwing the circle change, maybe even a curveball in there. Just try to switch it up to make sure it keeps your opponent off level, off kilter if they're starting to sit on one pitch. Now, I hope that this helps you guys out. If it did, again, please smash that like button. We're trying to get you guys as good and ready for online play as we can. Make sure you guys comment down below what you guys think about all this new stuff in MLB The Show, all the pitching. Let me know what you guys think about it, and make sure you guys are subscribing as well. We're trying to push out as many videos as we can to you guys, and all your guys' subscriptions are helping out a ton of the channel. So thank you guys very much. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys next time.